Uh, Guys, my friends told me over the years I should write a book of bad advice. So I did that this past year. It's called How Not to Parent. And my first advice about how not to parent is just to let you all know kids love being embarrassed by your parents, right? The second advice is to write that book and not tell your 3 children that you've written an entire book filled with embarrassing stories about them. And then let them find out when they read a newspaper review. My daughter is with me tonight, my oldest Sam, and how did they react? She reacted okay because there's a book about her. She's the center of attention. That may sound mean, but let me give you an example. When she was 5 years old, I'm looking for her. It's her birthday party. I go upstairs, and she's in the upstairs bathroom. I go, Sammy, why aren't you out in the backyard with all the other girls doing the slip and slide? She's combing her hair, and she goes, well, I want to wait till their hair gets wet, so when I go outside, my hair looks the best. And I just backed out of the bathroom. After she read the book, she goes, well, thank God you didn't put the really embarrassing stories in. Do you guys want to hear one of the really embarrassing stories? She went to Millersville. It's about 70 minutes from our house. One Sunday morning, his sophomore year, I said to my wife, you know what? I'm going to do a surprise inspection on Sam. Good advice, right? I'll just pop in with her. And my wife goes, just make sure her desk is clear to study. I said to her 2 teenage brothers, Brian and Jack, hey, you want to go surprise Sammy on a Sunday morning? He goes, oh, yeah. We get there. I knock on the door. She goes, who is it? I go, search warrant. She goes, what? Is that you, Dad? What? And I go in, and I say, where are your suite mates? She goes, they're out. And I'm like, walk of shame? And she goes, Dad, stop it. And she goes, what do you want? I go, I just want to see that you have a study space in your room. She goes, Dad, the door's broken to my room. You can't get there. I tried to get a locksmith. It's Sunday. They're going to come tomorrow. And I said, that's a lie. I'll give you 5 minutes to clean out your room. So she goes in there, and I hear all these things being thrown around. Her brothers are having the time of their life because they're counting all the empty liquor bottles that are on the shelves around the apartment going 76, 77, 78. And the pressure's building. When I go into her room, she has shoved under her bed a poster of Grateful Dead and Bob Marley. And I look at that, and then I look to the desk, and I say, well, you forgot this, which was a bong. I am wearing this sweatshirt, even though it's 100 degrees out, because she gave it to me, and I love her madly. The middle child, Brian, he liked the book because it captured him at a certain time in his life. The newspaper review said he was sensitive and eloquent. Yes, when he was 12. Now, his brother and sister hate that label because now he is a mixer. That means if you said you were politically conservative, he'd say something liberal. If you said you were liberal, he'd say something conservative. You know the type. He gave me this shirt, which is Turd Ferguson, which is from Norm Macdonald. That's his sense of humor. To give you Brian's idea of his sense of humor, last July 4th, I get a phone call from Brian. Hey, Dad, I get a flat tire. I'm on the turnpike. Could you come fix it? The AAA is not responding. It's 40 minutes away. I drive the 30 minutes out, and then I get a phone call from Brian. Dad, never mind. This guy driving by on a marijuana dispensary truck saw my fish T-shirt, pulled over, and fixed the tire. I go, great. And he goes, but Dad, afterwards he put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, that's okay, son. I grew up without a father, too. The only kid that was bothered by the book was my youngest, Jack. And Jack was frustrated because the book portrays Jack when he was a little kid. He had white hair, and he had no sense of gravity, or he just was a maniac. When he was 1, he pulled out the dresser drawers and climbed up them like a ladder so he could jump off the top of the dresser. When he was 3, he has no idea how to swim. We're visiting my cousin's house. It's the end of February. He decides to jump into a pond. I had to leap over a railing and save his life. Every time I would bring him to the hospital, which were many times, and his arm be like this, and they bring out the file, and they go, what are you claiming happened this time? I used to have a full head of black hair. He did that to me, but also as an adult, he became a respected adult. This is Feeding America. He went to Vermont, nutrition degree, worked with food banks, feeding the poor. He now works in a farmer's market. So he's a good kid now. So he's a little sensitive that he's portrayed like a maniac. He's also Gen Z and very politically correct, which is fodder for his brother Brian. So we went up one time to pick him up from Vermont. I drove the whole way. It's 8 hours. On the way back, Brian and Jack drive. I'm in the back seat. So Brian starts right in on him. Well, last night, Jack, I was watching a pretty good movie. Jack says, oh, what? What was it? Some porn. And Jack goes, that's disgusting. It exploits women. It's horrible. And Brian goes, what about the First Amendment? They proceed to have an argument for an hour, the type of argument as a parent you love hearing, two kids having, back and forth about this intellectual issue. Finally, Brian says, Jack, you seem to know a lot about this. And Jack says, I've done an awful lot of research on this topic. The car gets silent. If Brian had a mic, he would have dropped it. At that point, I go, Jack, for the next 20 years, you're going to be hearing that at every family get-together. Brian's going to be saying to your kids, you know what your dad's an expert in? Now, the book is out there. It's on Amazon and whatever. I always have copies with me. But who haven't I mentioned in this whole thing? My wife. My wife didn't want to have anything to do with the book. And when somebody said the picture, the cover on the front of the cover is me tied up by the kids laughing and they have me on fire, which was like a typical vacation picture. And somebody said, why isn't the wife on the cover? She goes, because the wife knows how to parent. She does promise to put out a sequel. It's going to be full of good advice, and it's going to be called The Kids Are Just Fine, No Thanks to Him. Thanks, guys.